So, history books talk a lot about some of the death camps that the Nazis had set up.
Yeah,
Did you guys ever see any of those or have to take or liberate any of those?
I was at Buchenwald when we cleaned that up, and terrible sight. The Germans would, whoever was in charge of those camps, they'd almost starve them to death and then throw their bodies into gas chamber. It's just piles of bones. They'd give them one blanket for each 12 people. Now, imagine trying to spread a blanket over 12 people. And the bed was boards.
So, were you guys aware at any point that something like that existed?
No, until we seen it, we didn't even think that people could treat people that way.
So, in your memory, can you see when you first saw Buchenwald? Do you remember that when you saw it and trying to figure out what it was when you first seen it?
Yeah. Yeah, it was hard to figure out that they have in Washington, they have a set up there and of Buchenwald, and it was just like it was, the old boards and everything. It's kind of interesting to see, but sad. They'd almost starve them to death, and they was just like skin and bones. You could see their bones sticking out, and it looked like walking skeletons. Sad.
So, when you guys arrived, did all of the Nazi guards, did they retreat?
They took off like a scared rabbit. But we were able to capture a few of them.
When you walk into Buchenwald, what did the prisoners there, what was their reaction?
It was hard to see a skeleton grinning. They walk around actually like a skeleton walking around because they're pretty near starved to death. And they had a smile on their face.
Did any of them come up to you and like hug you guys? Did they come up and talk to you at all?
Yeah, they'd talk to us, but they our people warned them not to touch them because they didn't know what type of disease they might have.
What was, I hate to bring this up, but what did it smell like?
Terrible. Terrible.
So, how long were you at Buchenwald, and what did they have you do there when you were there?
We wasn't there too long. They had another unit that cleaned the place up and gave the ones that were still living, gave them some decent food. And we was just kind of overseeing it.
How often, I guess, do you think about that day or those days that you were there?
Not too often, because it wasn't a pleasant sight. And once in a while it comes up, but not too often.
Did they have gas chambers and stuff set up there?
Yeah, they, well, in Washington, D.C., they've got it set up just like it was at Buchenwald for visitors to see.
When you guys captured some of the Buchenwald guards or soldiers, did they talk about their experiences and what they had done?
A few of them did, but some of them were just hard-hearted, and they thought that they were power happy. Thought they could do whatever they wanted to do. They had no feeling for human people, and I don't understand that.
So when you were, back to the closing days, when you talked to these German soldiers, what did they have to say? What did they think about Hitler? What was some of the sentiment? What was some of the opinions that you got from some of the German soldiers that you guys had captured?
Well, if some of them would say that they were wrong on what they did, and other ones would say that they was just glad it was over. But like I say, as a rule, the German people were so good to us that they, every one of them would have a whole barn full of potatoes. They'd give us potatoes, they'd make meals for us, and they're very good to us. They were, there at the last, they were given up by the hundreds. They'd been in war a long time, and they were tired of it. So they were given up. They wanted to go with their families.
Tell about the German lady that cooked you guys a chicken dinner.
Yeah, that was something. They, this one guy in our outfit, he was a kind of a, you had to watch him. This German lady, she said if we had, she said they had plenty of potatoes. They make us mashed potatoes and gravy, but they didn't have any meat. The soldiers had all that. Well, this lady, she had 15 chickens, and that was what she lived on. The eggs from them chickens, and she'd sell a few. And so this guy in our outfit, he told her, he said, well, he'd get her some meat. So he got a couple of those chickens, her chickens, out of the hen house, and butchered them, and she made us a meal. Well, when she found out that was her chickens, well, naturally, she was a little unhappy. So I told this guy that got the chickens, I said, now you go down to the mess hall, get the mess sergeant, and get as much beef as you can from him. We'll replace that. She was tickled.
So I can see you're wearing your heart on your sleeve, and you wanted to replace because she was doing a kind act just to make you guys a meal.
And she did. She cooked us up a nice meal.
So when she brought, or when he brought those beef rations back to her, what was her expressions like?
Thrilled. Thrilled to death. Actually, the German people, they were good to us. Even though they were on the enemy side, they were good to us. Treated us real good.
Tell about the priest that invited you into the church. The priest who invited you into the Catholic Church.
Oh yeah, yeah. There was 12 of us there in a house next to this church, and the priest come over, and he said, "Would you like to come over and the organist is going to practice for Sunday. You want to go in and listen to her?" So we didn't want to turn him down, so we did. And he took us all around, showed us around, and listened to the girl play the organ. So they were really good to us.
Did you ever come across any Germans that spoke English?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Did you ever talk to any of the German soldiers?
Yeah. Actually, it was kind of funny. I was in the building business, and the guy that was, two guys that was operating the cement trucks, I didn't realize it at the time, but they were German soldiers. And were the real nice guys, and they was over here as prisoners. They liked it so well, they stayed. And they were driving a cement truck, and I was selling real estate part-time, and they wanted to get a house, and wanted me to show them some. And of course, I went through the same routine, asked them how they wanted to finance it, whether cash or credit or GI loan. The guy said, "I don't think I could get a GI loan. I was in the German army." But they liked it, and they got, what do you call it? Anyhow, they got permission to stay here, and one of us then